Ready to shine inside out? Welcome to Polished Beauty Podcast, where ambition meets empowerment. We talk business, beauty, brain, body. I am your host, Dr. Daisy Aim, triple board certified cosmetic surgeon and OBGYN. Let's get polished.
Welcome back, beautiful tri-state area. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeartRadio. I'm your host, Zen Sams. Welcome back to the Polished Beauty segment. Today, we're joined by my brilliant contributor, Dr. Daisy Aim. She's a triple board certified OBGYN, gynecologist, and founder of the Polished Beauty podcast. Today, we're diving into a topic that's on everybody's mind as we close out the year, the ultimate gift you can give yourself: health, mental prosperity, and stability. Today, we're thrilled to welcome Joey Turman, an acclaimed health, fitness, and nutrition expert, TV personality, and best-selling author of The Minimum Method, the least you can do to be a stronger, healthier, happier you. Joey is also the founder of the brand BigBabyStyle.com, where they make adult tees inspired by kids' clothing. With his expertise featured on Good Morning America, The Today Show, Sherry Shepherd, and Men's Health, and just so many more, Joey is here to help us close 2024 strong and set a clear roadmap for a healthier, more mindful 2025. We're going to discuss top health trends for the new year, biohacking methods you can do right from the comfort of your home, and staying centered during the holiday hustle. Let's jump right in. Welcoming now to the show are my dear friends, Dr. Daisy Aim and Joey Turman. Welcome, superstars.
Hi, Joey.
Hi, how are you, Daisy?
I'm great.
So, Joey, as the holidays approach, we've talked about this before on the show. Many of us feel just overwhelmed. We're juggling family gatherings, end of year deadlines, holiday shopping, all while trying to just prioritize health and well-being. And statistics show that 88% of people feel holiday stress, that stress directly impacts their health. And we have over 35% to admit skipping regular exercise during this time. Now, to start us off, can you share how the principles in your book help simplify health and fitness, particularly during this hectic holiday season?
Yeah, look, I mean, people always want to think about when they played high school football 30 years ago and go really hard at it. And they're thinking about all these intense things that they need to do. But doing the least doesn't mean doing nothing, right? It's just what you can do right now and what's attainable for you right now in this season, in this moment of your life. So a lot of people kick themselves for not getting their workout in. The 35% of people that you talked about that don't get their regular workout in. It's okay because you've been consistent for the prior 9, 10, 11 months. So give yourself a little bit of grace and gratitude on that. And at the same time, like we've got to not even walk before we run. We have to roll over. We have to sit up. We have to take a first step. Momentum isn't something that you're just going to catch. You need to create it. So we need to step forward and create your own momentum in life. So however small that is, the least you can do can get you maximum results.
I love it. Can you guide us with a little bit of health habits that even the busiest person can do and can adopt during the holidays to just stay on track?
Walking after your meals, 10 to 15 minutes, whether that's outside, whether that's in your house, whether that's up and down your steps, that's a prokinetic. That gets your digestive system going, right? So we're able to regulate blood sugar control. That helps absorb nutrients. That helps, sometimes we get a little gassy after we eat. So we want to start that digestive process. You can call them fart walks. 10 to 15 minutes, 2 to 3 times a day. And all of a sudden we've got that 30 minutes, 10 plus 10 plus 10, with that 30 minutes of movement that we all need to at least get at a bare minimum in a day. When you're eating, protein first, whether that's vegan source, plant source, or traditional animal source. Protein is satiating, it's filling, it's much harder for that macronutrient to be converted into fat. Our body's going to utilize it, so we need that. So I focus on protein with every single meal. It doesn't need to be a huge steak or a mound of tofu, just a little bit of protein with every meal and have a compilation of all the macronutrients. Yes, carbohydrates. Guess what? Vegetables have carbs in them. Oh my God, we shouldn't be scared of them. These are good things for us. So just have an array of food, but have protein be your mainstay right there. And then whether you're having more fats or more carbohydrates, doesn't matter as long as we're kind of getting towards that protein number. And non-negotiable, we need to drink water. Wow, we'll talk about the easiest biohack in the world. Your body's natural detoxification system. It's very cheap. Get up, drink water. Big glass of water in the morning. Big glass of water with lunch. Big glass of water with dinner. These are very simplistic things that we can do, but putting into practice seem to be hard for people to do because we get stuck in our ways. So if you start doing these things one thing at a time, maybe just a glass of water in the morning, if you normally don't do, as opposed to, oh my God, Joey said I have to have it, 8 glasses of water a day. Like, these are just standards that people set, and I don't really know where they come from because I like to base it off of ounces, per pound, but it doesn't matter. Big glass of water first thing in the morning. If you haven't done it before, that's a small step right there that everybody can do. Don't tell me you don't have time to drink a glass of water.
I love that interesting angle. I mean, the glass of water thing, I think is right on point because once I started my fitness journey and I incorporate that, saw a difference. But Joey, what I want to know is how do you encourage people to use mindfulness techniques, not only to cope with the holiday stress, but also maintain emotional well-being during this time?
Yeah, look, I mean, we so often live our lives in the past, and that dictates our future. So if we look at our past and we think about all these negative things, and we're creating these stories and scenarios, even if you look at eyewitness accounts, often they're way off. So we're trying to account our past, and we're putting a negative connotation to them. So then, if we're having negative connotations to our past all the time, is our future going to be leaning forward? So I think trying to reassess your past and thinking about the positive things in your past will help your future and be excited for the future. Yes, there's going to be stressful things in life, and we need to acknowledge that. But just because your past was negative doesn't mean that the future is going to be depressive.
Definitely have to break through from those preconceived ideas, right? Because it's all about mindset. And as we prepare to enter 2025, there's so much buzz around the latest biohacking trends and health trends, and in fact, the global biohacking market is projected to grow by over $50 billion by the year 2027, showing just how much people are in fact investing in optimizing their health. But let's face it, most of us don't have access to cryotherapy chambers or personal IV drips. So let's going back to your basics, what are the top biohacking trends for 2025 that the average person can incorporate into their daily routine without breaking the bank?
If you live somewhere cold, guess what? Walking outside, you're doing cryotherapy right there, and it's free. Amazing. I mean, I live in Chicago, so gloves and hat before sweater will make you look better. So think about putting on a hat, like covering your ears and your hands, and maybe walking outside, maybe with like a t-shirt on. That'll create that shivering, which is a good thing, which is it increases the metabolic rate. You don't want to stay outside for hours or dive in the snow. Don't do anything crazy like Joey told me to. But you're creating that shivering, so your core temperature has to naturally warm up, which is going to increase that thermogenic burn of the calories. Your body's just trying to keep that core temperature up. So that's simple. And with that, if you could do that in the morning as the sunlight is coming up, free. The sun is free, people. We're getting vitamin D. We're regulating our circadian rhythm. So as early as you can, get out and just walk outside in the sun, preferably not with sunglasses on. So you want to get that periphery, and you want to get the sun into your eyes, and that's just going to regulate their circadian rhythm, because what you do during the day sets up your night, which sets up the next day. Free. Right there. And then you just breath work. I mean, people taking calming breaths, like people say, like, take a deep breath when you're stressed, but actually when you take a deep exhale, exhalation is what brings us from sympathetic to parasympathetic, fight or flight, to rest, digest, recover. So yes, you can do all this like box breathing and everything else, which is great, but most of the simplest thing I can give people, the least you can do, is take a deep breath in and take a double exhalation out. That double exhalation automatically creates a calming effect. So whether it's 1, 4, 4, 4, 4, all these different techniques, don't even worry about that. Take a deep breath in and take a longer exhalation. That's a free biohack for you right there, or just like how we should breathe.
So for the beginners out there, I mean, all those things you listed are fantastic. They're simple ways to get started. How do you get that person listening to this that has never done anything to just get up and try one or two of your recommendation?
Yeah, I like to say, let's start laughably small. Literally, right? If you're just sitting on the couch all day long, like, you're just trying to get off the couch to the starting line. You're not in the race trying to get the finish line. So at a minimum, 5 push-ups a day. Okay. Oh my God, 5 doesn't seem like a lot. That might be a lot to you because you didn't do it. 10 squats as you're brushing your teeth. Give me 5 lunges, anything like that. At a minimum, start so small it seems ridiculous, because eventually your habit stacking, those habits will go up. So I did 10 squats while I was brushing my teeth. I did 5 push-ups in the morning. I did a 10-second plank. Now all of a sudden, 2 weeks later, it's a 20-second plank. If you go at it really hard and you hit that accelerator fast, you're going to run out of gas and be burned out after a couple weeks by crazy numbers of 90-something% of people stop their New Year's resolution goals. It's like right in the middle of January. Like it's staggering,
Yeah,
laughably small.
and consistency is key. You just said it. Consistency. Those baby steps, if you're consistent, I don't care what it is that you're trying to accomplish, but consistently working towards that goal gets you to that goal. If you miss the consistency, then you're back to square one. And which brings me back to the holidays, right? We're in a time of reflection and setting goals for the year ahead, but so many people start strong in January only to lose momentum by February, right? 80% of New Year's resolutions fail by the second week of February. So it's all about mindset. So, what strategies can you share to help people not only set realistic health goals for 2025, but also stick with them beyond January?
Yeah. So just take a pause and breathe, and just realize that it's not going to be all done in one day. Just because Bob next door is doing something crazy, or some new biohacking, or some new diet. Realize that every body, body, is completely different, and what you do for you is not the same thing that's going to happen for somebody else. Like you can be motivation for that other person, or use somebody else for motivation, but motivation is going to come from within. Sometimes it's extrinsic, right? Like intrinsic is much better, but extrinsic, like you've got a high school reunion coming up, focus on that. Schedule a vacation. So you're moving towards this goal, because if we're not moving towards a goal in life, we just become stagnant. And that's what I like people just like setting these goals, and these small victories are non-scale victories. Yes, like you want to think about losing weight, but the weight on a scale fluctuates tremendously. So we need to get away from the scale as much as possible. I'm still a little nutty. I like checking myself every day, just because I'm curious. It's interesting. But give yourself that grace, and that your body is completely different. You're not going to parent your same child if you've got kids. And a lot of kids are listening. I've got a 6-year-old wonderful boy. I'm going to parent him differently than the 6-year-old next door. If somebody has 5 children, each child has their own personality, has their own unique behaviors and positive qualities about them. And I don't want to say negative, but some struggles that you have to deal with. So you are completely different, and allow that for yourself, and just allowing that grace will really help you keep moving forward and keep that momentum. So you're creating that momentum, that inertia.
Yeah, I think one of the things that happens when, especially when people want to pursue their fitness, is that life happens, right? They have an unpredictable event, whether it's, changing job, or unfortunately death, or whatever. How do you get your clients to stay consistent and motivated and disciplined, even amidst challenges like that that's so unpredictable?
Yeah, I like a gratitude jar. I don't know if you've heard of that, but whether that's because we want to reward ourselves. Why can't we reward ourselves with gratitude in a positive way? So that could be like a little ticket, that could be $1.50. You could fill it up with whatever you want, right? And give yourself gratitude when you're doing those things, especially when times are tough. Because then you're aware, like, okay, you know what? Normally, right now, like I'm upset, I'm frustrated, but I need to stop and think, what's going to make me feel better? For me, and Zen, we've talked about this. I was diagnosed with clinical depression at 14 years old, like suicidal thoughts and everything, and that goes in and out my entire life. No matter if I've got all these positive things happening in life, because sometimes the more light people have shined on them, the more darkness that they have inside. So just because you see somebody or a neighbor or somebody that's things that have everything going on perfectly, they're still struggling at some point. So create that gratitude jar, and then give yourself a goal or a reward. I prefer it not to be food. Like, oh, I stayed on my diet for 4 weeks, and then I maintained it, and then all of a sudden you're going to go off the rails for several days. Often that's a slippery slope. So that gratitude jar, once that's filled up, whether it's money, you buy yourself a pair of shoes, a purse, or anything like that, a new phone, whatever it is, filling that gratitude jar with things besides exercise is spectacular. Normally I would have, got really frustrated with my spouse, my significant other, my child. But I decided to take a step away, take that deep breath in and that deep exhalation. Okay, so that I'll give myself gratitude. That's positive right there. So that we're moving forward. We're ever forward as much as possible. I hate the quote of like, let's get 1% better every day. That makes no sense. I mean, I'm not that great at math, but 1% every single day past 101 days, we can't go past 100%. Like we always look at these social media posts, like 1% better every day. Some days it's just suck. They do. Some days you don't want to get up and you're struggling, and people are like, oh, you're going to feel better. It'll be okay. You know what? Sometimes that makes it worse. Some days you just have to embrace the suck embrace the stress, right?
I like that. Embrace the suck.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's easy to prioritize everything else, right? Family, work, gifts over our own mental health and emotional health. But the best gift, you just said it, that we can give to ourselves and others is a healthy and happy version of ourselves. So when we talk about advice for redefining self-care during the holiday season, especially for people who feel guilty taking time for themselves, I think I just had a revelation. I'm that person. I feel guilty taking time for myself, but you just said it. If that guilt is consuming me, then take it one day at a time, take that deep breath and go out there and dip into the gratitude jar to remind ourselves that even if we're overachievers and the world around us is looking to us for this advice, sometimes it could be overwhelming. So thank you for sharing that. And thank you for also sharing a very deep personal story about your mental health. That means a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I think that as a stereotypical meathead straight white boy, like we don't talk about this enough. Like literally, it does it. And I'm glad that mental health is like getting more out there. But a lot of times people will see. I mean, I've worked with these, A-list actors, and I can mention the names, but like they're all struggling too, right? Because not only if they have a bad day, they go outside and they're having somebody like paparazzi take a picture of them, or somebody runs up to them at a restaurant, and of course you're going to have a bad day, and every now and then you're getting frustrated. Well, that's what they signed up for, But nobody signs up for like getting hounded the whole time. Maybe that's what their craft, their career. Dr. Daisy, like if I talk to you, like, oh, hey, can you check this out right now? What's this? What's this? Like all the time, I'm sure you get that. Like, do you really want to be on all the time, like in the office all the time? Sometimes you probably don't even say you're a doctor. I don't know. Maybe I'm just making this up. But like, like when people ask what I do sometimes when I'm on a plane or whatever, like, oh, consultant. Because that's just goofy. Because I say fitness, I say nutrition. Like, hey, this is what I'm doing. This is like, is that good? I'm like, it's great, cool. Sometimes you just want to check out. Sometimes you just want to be with yourself, and that is absolutely okay. So I'm aware of myself when I'm in that bad mood, or like maybe I put on headphones, even if they're dead, and I put on a hat and I put it low. Like, it's not being rude. It's just being aware of yourself and giving yourself that grace to be within yourself, kind of the art of doing nothing. I've talked about that before. Just sit within your own thoughts and just turn out the lights or lay down for 5 minutes and just think. And guess what? You just meditated. Meditation is spectacular. You don't need to like sit there on the top of a mountain and go and figure this stuff out, but just aware of every emotion that you have, whether it's love for yourself, whether it's hate for yourself at the moment. Just embrace it and be aware of it. And when we're raising our children, if we can make them aware of their emotions and how to handle it and not be ashamed of what they're feeling, then they'll be much better humans, and hopefully we'll be better off. When my son gets upset, and if he wants to like throw things and whatever, like, okay, you go in the corner, like you scream, you yell, you get it out, but like it's not okay to do X, right? But we're aware that you need your time right now. You need your space, and let's treat ourselves that way too.
One of the things you mentioned about a reward system that I love and I wanted to hound on is, instead of chasing pounds, body composition, anyone listening to this, you want to look at the totality when you're working out. You want to look at your muscle mass growth. You want to look at your fat reduction. That you want to look at, obviously, the pounds, but, the other parts of it that will make you feel good. Your pound might be getting higher, but your muscle mass is getting higher and your fat is going down. So looking at the totality is a great way to feel rewarded. Joey, what I wanted to ask you is, what is the one simple tradition or ritual you recommend for fostering mindfulness and gratitude during the holiday season?
Oh, man, there's so many, but I think, everybody wants to think about their why. But what's the how to get to the why? It's amazing that's maybe your why is your son, your husband, your family. That's spectacular. But how are you getting to that point in life, and how are you grateful for them? Why are you grateful for your why? I think that, and stopping and taking a look at that and kind of assessing your life, kind of like your day, like a movie trailer. Like, look back and look at the highlights. What's good, or silver lining, whatever phrase you want to put to it. The how to the why is spectacular. It's like, love my wife, but how did I get to that point? Right? So then all of a sudden you start thinking about, when I met her, and this is what happened, this is how I felt. Because that reflection towards the why, I think, often grounds us more. When we get really excited in life and we accomplish X, we're always looking for the next thing, right? You worked so hard, maybe it's to be board certified, right, Dr. Jay? And then all of a sudden, like, you get that. Now it's next. Now I need to get my business going. Did you sit and write that down? Like, what it took to get to that why and how amazing you are for getting to that, right?
So the theme of this podcast is ambition meets empowerment. And Joey, I want to know, what is the one thing or the one bold step you've taken in your life to put you where you are today?
I think others around me and talking to them about every way I'm feeling, because it's easy to be there for someone when things are bad. But when I wake up, and we obviously touched on this, when I wake up and I feel depressed or, let's say it, suicidal, I will talk to my wife. Here's how I'm feeling today. It's one of those days. So then she knows that maybe she needs to give me a little bit more space, because she's not going to fix me. She's not going to fix that by any means, but she's more aware of how I'm feeling. So she's able to give me that grace. And same thing with everybody else around me, because by me letting her know, or, Zen letting you know, or anybody listening right now, right there, all of a sudden you're more connected to me. And then you put yourself in my shoes, no matter if you don't know what depression feels like or whatever that may be. So surrounding yourself with that community, it takes a village to raise a child. It takes a village to maintain a healthy adult. So find those people around you, whether that's listening to a podcast or husband, wife, anything like that. And I think being honest with them on how you're feeling will allow them to be honest with you on how they're feeling too.
Wow. Well, your vulnerability is so empowering, if that makes sense. I love that. I love that we've stayed and we've maintained having you on the show year after year. And I love the mental growth that your journey has taken you on, because every time I interview you, I get a different Joey, which I love, because it's a more evolved Joey, whether you see it or not. I do. So thank you for sharing your invaluable insights on how to end the year strong and start 2025 on the right foot, my dear. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Joey.
Thank you.
I hope you enjoyed this episode, and thank you for listening. Video recording of this episode will be featured on our YouTube channel, Dr. Daisy Ayim. We are also found on Instagram at Polish Beauty Podcast or at Dr. Daisy Ayim. Remember, new episode drop every Wednesday, so stay tuned. Please like, share, follow.